Welcome back to New Mountain. I'm Derrick and this is a breakdown of Making It Work Episode 1, New Mountain's newest miniseries. After months of waiting, we finally got the first episode, giving us a look into this wacky world, where the police response time is impeccable, but the judicial process is questionable at best. I'm going to be breaking down all the Easter eggs and details you might have missed in this episode, and spoilers if for some reason you haven't seen it yet. Come on, what are you doing? Go watch it. On to the breakdown. The episode begins with a cold open, where we hear screams from a crowd that we'll later learn are a result of an accident at the hands of our four main characters that we first meet here. From left to right, you have Ben, played by Johnny Wasden, Anthony, played by Johnny Peacock, Frank, played by Zach Goldberg, and Connor, played by Jack Hemhauser. Now, if you're a fan of New Mountain's content, you should recognize these actors. Jack Hemhauser and Johnny Wasden have their own YouTube channel, Double John Comedy, where they post their series John and Off. You'll also definitely recognize super talented Zach Goldberg, who I can't believe they were able to get for this. I mean, he's so talented and handsome. I'm not gay, but you'll recognize Zach from many New Mountain shorts, and most notably as Coach Goldberg from Rec League, New Mountain's first miniseries. Now, Johnny Peacock isn't someone we have seen before, as he's a new addition to the New Mountain team. He was actually called in last minute to take over the role of Anthony, after the original actor, Adamas Diaz, had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. We get the opening credits of the show, which feature the song Runaway Kids by the indie rock band Harbor. This is actually one of director and showrunner Tommy Casamano's favorite bands. Now, the name of the episode is the rat race, a common phrase to describe a way of life wherein people are caught up in a very competitive and fierce struggle for power. A theme I think will be prevalent throughout the entire series between the guys and Dante, who we'll meet in a little bit. Notice the car Frank is driving here. It's the same minivan featured in To Be Frank during the van rap, performed by Jack Hemhauser. Fun fact, the passenger doors to this van were actually broken and didn't open. So when the characters get in the van, we never actually see them come through the door, and instead they feign the action of entering. We get a little gag about Connor's brother, who is also played by Jack Hemhauser, and he wears glasses to differentiate himself, which could be a reference to 2015's Legend, where Tom Hardy plays a pair of twins who dress very similarly, and the only major difference between them is glasses. After Ben comes sprinting in and gets hit by Frank's car, we hear this exchange between Ben and Connor.
You ever heard of going for a jog?
Going for a jog? You were running as fast as you can, screaming at the top of your lungs.
I'm just trying something new.
This is possibly a nod to Coach Goldberg's jog in the Rec League finale, where he too was sprinting as fast as he could on what he claimed was a casual run. Next, we cut to the gang coming up with ideas of what they plan on doing for the week. And while not explicitly stated, all these ideas are centered around the gang making money, which looks like it's going to be the main motivation that drives these stories forward throughout the series. Now, the show was actually first conceived all the way back in the spring of 2016, and was originally called We Need Money, before the title was changed in 2020 to fit the updated version. But the bones of the original idea are still very present, with the core idea of friends who scheme up ridiculous ways to make money the driving force behind the characters. The schemes mentioned in this scene include an ostrich racing ring, which, yes, is a real thing, buying a bunch of scratch-off lottery tickets, which YouTuber MrBeast has done multiple times, robbing a bank, an idea that's shot down by Frank, perhaps because of actor Zach Goldberg's experience on the subject, having starred in the Robbery That Went Wrong series all the way back in 2008. But the most interesting mention here is of a traveling water park, which prompts Ben to say this.
We couldn't get it to work. We couldn't contain Ben.
You're right. Once I'm slippery, it's over for you guys.
Now, this is interesting, because in the teaser trailer, we see Ben floating in a pool, and in the official trailer, we see him running with a big old smile on his face, still dripping with water in the same bathing suit. I think they'll bring this traveling water park idea back around, and that will lead to some crazy antics in a Ben-focused plot that sees him go off on his own adventure. This leaked behind-the-scenes photo shows Ben in the bathing suit alone in the woods, with a squirrel puppet, perhaps an imaginary friend, or an example of anthropomorphism in this universe. And if you look closely in the bottom left-hand corner of the image, you'll see a water jug, which is probably what the crew used to keep Johnny Wasden wet between takes. In the next scene, we see the gang settled on selling lemonade, and we get a good shot of Frank's shirt, which reads, "We broke down in Ohio." This is a reference to a real-life event where Zach Goldberg's car actually broke down in Ohio. Gotta watch out for them potholes. In this scene, we meet Lewis, played by John Slayer, best known for his role as Taylor Logan, and Dante, played by Dante Angelone of Creature Catchers fame. I expect Dante to be a reoccurring antagonist to the guys, who will be there to foil their plans. But as we see later on in this episode, the boys will get the better of him. Dante jokingly suggests the guys should put on a play after seeing them pretend to rob a bank, which leads to a prompt cut to a theater where the guys have actually put together a play. In the audience, there are a couple people of note here. At the left of the front row is Matt Temple, best known for his Snapchat series Sexy Tips with Zach. Next to him is Delio Noguera, who plays a character credited as Eddie Munch, and he's holding a bag that looks like it says Cheezos, a parody of the popular snack Cheetos. This is something shows will often do to avoid using copyrighted products, most notably in Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh and iCarly. And sitting right behind them, we get a cameo by co-writer, co-creator, and co-producer Adam Diaz, who we mentioned earlier as the original actor who was going to play Anthony. We also meet Rebecca, played by WINNIE BRAUN, who is credited as Dante's stepmom. And now in real life, WINNIE is younger than Dante, which raises some questions about Dante's father, his fictional father, because in real life, well, Dante mentions to be frank in his conversation.
This is not theater. To be frank is theater.
Which is a clear reference to the Fever Dream-like short film made the year prior by New Mountain. And I love Rebecca's little nod of acknowledgement. In the same scene, we see an usher stop Dante from eating, even while Eddie Munch is munching away. The usher is played by Kyle McCauley, who made his first New Mountain appearance in the aforementioned To Be Frank. And then the play starts, and this is my absolute favorite sequence of the entire episode. The first musical number we hear is a parody of My Shot from the biggest musical ever, Hamilton, with new lyrics by Adam Diaz. Ben, Frank, and Connor play bank patrons while Anthony plays the robber, and you can see Anthony wearing these money shoes, which are the same shoes worn by Jack in To Be Frank. And it's also a nod to the fact that, again, the underlying motivation for these characters is making money, just as it's the underlying motivation for all of us in real life, even if some of us have a harder time getting our hands on it. There are so many small details and moments happening in this play, it's hard to catch them all. Like when Anthony and Lewis exit stage, you can see Anthony stepping in beat, and Lewis give a big old smile while looking directly at the audience. I love it. In between the musical numbers, we get this dramatic scene between Frank and Lewis. And on the fridge in the background, we see a newspaper called the New Mountain Times. And the headline reads, "Lumberjacks Local Champions." A nod to the show Rec League, where the Lumberjack team did actually legitimately win the championship of their league. And we see the team photo they took following that win. A behind the scenes photo of the newspaper gives us a closer look at all the details included. There's an entire article about the Lumberjacks win with real quotes from the Rec League show.
You're not being a coach. You're being a weirdo.
There's an article titled Harry Intruder still on the loose, a reference to the short film Yowie starring Delio Noguera and Adam Diaz. And perhaps my favorite Easter egg in the whole paper is this article about Frank Starbuck, the same character seen at the end of To Be Frank. If you remember in that video, Frank is asked about the controversies surrounding him, and this article tackles that same subject, even mentioning the poor dead dog. Now, if you look closely in the right background of this scene, for a brief moment you can actually spot Ben peeking from behind the window prop he's holding. It's a nice little detail that reminds us that this play has a very low budget and was put together by a group of friends that have no idea what they're doing. All the props and set for the musical scenes were created by artist Sophia Dunzelman, who did an amazing job making this look like a legitimate play these characters would put on. She's also the one that created the fake newspaper I just mentioned. The next musical number is called A Rat Needs His Cheese, a hilarious song performed by Connor in a rat costume. The song was created by Jack Hemhauser and Johnny Peacock, and it's perfectly ridiculous. If you listen closely at one part, you could hear him singing about all the different types of cheese. Kick your legs out.
Kick line?
No, that's not it. We just can't let Dante down. After a beautiful rat monologue by Connor, Eddie Munch is munching down once again, this time on a sub sandwich, which catches the interest of the usher. This could be a reference to how in real life, actor Kyle McCauley loves sub sandwiches, especially Jersey Mike's. Backstage, Frank mentions his cousin and seems to be breaking some bad news, but he's cut off before he can finish his sentence.
Yeah, actually, speaking of uncles, I just got the news back on my cousin. She has
Look, Dante's back.
I wonder if this will be a plot point we see revisited in the future. We cut back to the audience where Dante has brought in a bunch of snacks, but is once again denied by the usher, while Eddie continues to eat without punishment. I get the feeling Dante's misfortune will carry throughout the series, with these guys being a constant thorn in his side, similar to the way SpongeBob and Patrick always get the better of Squidward. I love the detail in this scene where after Lewis and Zach's fight, Lewis tenderly knocks down the flowers. Another example of the group's low budget, as they can't afford to break any of their props. Back in the audience, Eddie is eating yet again. This time, it's a bowl of Captain Crunch cereal. But little known fact, there's actually no milk in that bowl, because actor Delio Noguera absolutely hates the stuff. The play continues and we see Connor's rat character do a cartoonish run off stage, and you can actually spot Zach breaking character a little bit from the absurdity of it, which is totally fair, because I mean, look at that. As we reach the climax of the episode, Anthony switches out Lewis's prop gun for a real gun, unbeknownst to Lewis and the rest of the guys, which leads to Dante almost getting shot. What? A police officer shows up almost immediately, and with only the word of Anthony, doesn't hesitate to arrest poor Lewis. The guys get away scot-free, seemingly having to face no consequences for their actions, which of course befuddles and annoys Dante, as he is left sitting alone in the theater. It makes you wonder if somewhere down the line, Dante will get his revenge for all the misfortune that befalls him throughout the series. The end credits show an extended version of A Rat Needs His Cheese, but this is a different take from the one we saw earlier. Here, you can see that the song is being performed live by Jack Hemhauser and Johnny Peacock. Whereas before, Johnny was just feigning the action of playing the piano, here he is actually tickling the ivories. And that leaves us set up for more hijinks in next week's episode. Follow New Mountain on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to New Mountain on YouTube to make sure you don't miss any episodes of Making It Work. Thanks for watching. Bye.